The village school bell rang loudly that morning. Children ran through the gates, laughing and playing. But something terrible was about to happen. Something that would make everyone cry. Mama Adaeze stood in her classroom, writing on the board. She was the kindest teacher in the whole village. Every child loved her warm smile. She had taught in this school for 20 years. Mothers and fathers trusted her with their precious children. Where are you watching from? Drop your country in the comments below. Young Chibuike sat at his desk feeling strange. His head felt heavy like a rock. His hands started shaking, but he said nothing. He was scared the other children would laugh at him. During morning assembly, all the students stood in neat rows. The headmaster was giving his morning speech. Suddenly, Chibuike's eyes rolled back. His body started shaking violently. He fell to the ground hard. Most teachers didn't notice in the crowd of children, but Mama Adaeze saw everything. She ran faster than she had ever run before. Her heart pounded with fear for the boy. She dropped to her knees beside Chibuike. She quickly turned him on his side. Then she wrapped her arms around him, holding him tight. She protected his head from hitting the concrete ground. She whispered prayers as his body shook. But three parents standing by the gate saw something different. They only saw a teacher hugging a student. Their eyes grew wide with shock. In these modern times, teachers must not touch students like that. They pulled out their phones and started recording. If you're loving this story, hit that subscribe button right now. You won't believe what happens next. Within 1 hour, the parents marched into the headmaster's office. Their faces were angry and red. They showed him the videos on their phones. The headmaster's face turned pale with worry. He called Mama Adaeze to his office immediately. She came with dust, still on her knees from kneeling. Her hands still trembled from saving the boy. But the headmaster wouldn't listen to her explanation. The school board held an emergency meeting that very afternoon. They looked at the parents' videos. They saw the embrace. They made their decision fast, too fast. Mama Adaeze must be fired immediately. She must leave the school before sunset. No more teaching, no more children. Her career was over, just like that. The news spread through the village like wildfire in the dry season. Mothers stopped cooking and gasped. Fathers put down their tools and shook their heads. The market women whispered behind their hands. The children heard the news and started crying. Little girls sobbed into their mothers' arms. Boys, who never cried, felt tears on their cheeks. How could their beloved Mama Adaeze be sent away? That night, Mama Adaeze sat alone in her small house. 20 years of love, 20 years of service, all gone because of one misunderstood moment. Tears rolled down her wrinkled cheeks. She had saved that boy's life, but nobody believed her. Young Chibuike woke up in the village clinic. His mother sat beside his bed holding his hand. The doctor explained he had suffered a seizure, a very dangerous seizure that could have killed him. Chibuike's eyes filled with tears. Not from pain, from guilt. Mama Adaeze had saved his life, and now she was fired because of him. He had to do something. But what could one small boy do? Then he remembered something important. The wealthy businessman who graduated from their school had installed cameras everywhere, security cameras to protect the children. Maybe those cameras saw what really happened. Don't scroll away. The truth is about to be revealed, and it will shock you. Chibuike jumped from his hospital bed. His mother tried to stop him, but he ran. He ran all the way to his uncle's house. His uncle worked in the school office. His uncle had access to the security footage. He banged on the door, breathing hard. His uncle opened it, surprised to see the boy. Chibuike explained everything through tears and gasps. His uncle's face changed from confusion to understanding to anger. They went to the school that very night. The uncle used his keys to open the office. They turned on the computer and found the security footage. They searched for the right day and time. What they saw on that screen made them both start crying. The camera showed everything clearly, every single detail. The truth was right there in black and white. The video showed Chibuike collapsing during assembly. His body was shaking violently on the ground. Most teachers walked past, not noticing the crowd. But then Mama Adaeze appeared, running like lightning. She reached the boy in seconds. With expert hands, she turned him on his side. She cradled his head gently, protecting it from the hard ground. She checked his breathing every few seconds. Her lips moved in silent prayer. She stayed with him for 7 long minutes, never leaving his side, never letting his head hit the concrete. When he finally stopped shaking, she helped him stand slowly. She walked him quietly to the clinic without making a scene. This was not inappropriate touching. This was not a hug. This was a teacher saving a child's life. This was love in action. This was everything a teacher should be. Chibuike's uncle copied the video to a flash drive. His hands shook as he did it. Tomorrow there will be another school board meeting. Tomorrow, the truth would finally be heard. The next morning, the whole village gathered at the school. Parents, teachers, students, elders, everyone came to see what would happen. The tension in the air was thick like smoke. The headmaster stood at the front, looking nervous. The 3 parents who complained sat with guilty faces. The school board members waited impatiently. Where was Chibuike's uncle? What was taking so long? Then the uncle arrived carrying a laptop. He plugged it in without saying a word. Chibuike stood beside him trembling. The boy's mother held his hand tight. The video began to play on the wall. Every eye in the room watched the screen. Complete silence filled the space. You could hear hearts beating. They watched Chibuike fall. They watched him shake. They watched Mama Adaeze run to save him. They watched her protect him with her own body. They watched her save his life. Subscribe to our channel right now if you believe teachers like Mama Adaeze deserve respect. Gasps filled the room. Mothers covered their mouths with their hands. Fathers felt shame burning in their chests. The 3 parents who complained started crying. One of those parents stood up slowly. Her whole body shook with shame. She walked to where Mama Adaeze sat alone in the corner. She fell to her knees in front of the teacher. "I am so sorry," she cried out loud. "I did not see the truth. I only saw what I feared. I destroyed the reputation of the woman who saved my village's children. Please, forgive me." The other 2 parents joined her on their knees. All 3 begged Mama Adaeze for forgiveness. Their tears fell like rain on the dusty floor. The headmaster stood with tears streaming down his face. He had made the decision too quickly. He had not searched for the truth. He had failed his best teacher. "Mama Adaeze, I am deeply sorry," he said in a breaking voice. "You are not fired. You are reinstated with full honor. Please come back to your classroom. The children need you. We all need you." But Mama Adaeze did not smile. She did not jump for joy. She stood slowly, her old bones aching. She looked at every face in the room with sad eyes. "A teacher's love was questioned today," she said quietly. "My 20 years of service meant nothing when fear arrived. What message does this send to our children?" The room became even more silent. Everyone felt the weight of her words. They had wounded something precious. Trust, respect, honor. But then, young Chibuike stepped forward. He walked to Mama Adaeze and took her wrinkled hand. He looked up into her tired eyes. "You saved my life," he said in a clear voice. "When everyone else walked past, you ran to help me. You held me when I was scared. You protected me when I was in danger. You are what every teacher should be." Tears finally came to Mama Adaeze's eyes. But these were different tears. These were tears of healing. "I will return to my classroom," she said softly. "But we must all learn from this day. We must seek the truth before we judge. We must listen before we condemn. We must remember that love sometimes looks different from what we expect." The whole village erupted in applause. Children ran forward to hug their teacher. The elders nodded their heads in approval. The 3 parents continued crying tears of relief and shame. That afternoon, the village held a special ceremony. They honored Mama Adaeze with songs and speeches. They presented her with a beautiful cloth showing a teacher protecting children. The school board created a new rule that day. Before any teacher can be accused or fired, the full story must be investigated, evidence must be gathered, truth must be sought with patience and wisdom. Young Chibuike never forgot what Mama Adaeze did for him. Years later, he became a doctor. He dedicated his life to saving others just as she had saved him. Comment below if this story touched your heart. And don't forget to share it with someone who needs to hear this message. The security camera footage was kept as a teaching tool. New teachers watched it during training. They learned that sometimes love looks like holding tight. Sometimes protection looks like an embrace. Sometimes saving a life requires touching when others fear to act. Mama Adaeze taught for 10 more years after that day. She never hesitated to help a child in need. But now the whole village understood. They had learned their lesson the hard way. The three parents who complained became Mama Adaeze's strongest defenders. They spoke at community meetings about the danger of quick judgment. They warned other parents not to make their same mistake. Every year on the anniversary of that terrible day, the school held a special assembly. They called it Truth and Trust Day. They reminded everyone that seeing is not always understanding. That fear can blind us to love. That wisdom requires patience. The children grew up hearing this story. They learned to think carefully before accusing. They learned to seek the full truth before judging. They learned that the best teachers love their students enough to risk everything. And Mama Adaeze, she continued being exactly who she had always been. Kind, watchful, protective, ready to run when a child needed help, ready to hold tight when danger came near. The village never forgot the lesson. Quick judgment wounds everyone. Assumptions destroy the innocent. But truth, when finally revealed, heals more than it hurts. Years later, visitors came to the village school. They heard about the famous teacher who was almost destroyed by a misunderstanding. They asked to meet her. Mama Adaeze would smile her warm smile. She would tell them the story in her gentle voice, and she would always end with the same words. A teacher's job is to protect and guide, she would say. Sometimes that means holding a child close when the world thinks you should let go. Love is not always convenient. Truth is not always quick to appear. But both are always worth fighting for. Thank you for watching this powerful story. Hit like, subscribe, and share this with everyone who needs to remember that teachers are heroes. Drop a heart emoji if Mama Adaeze inspired you today. The school bell still rings every morning in that village. Children still run through the gates laughing and playing. And somewhere in the classroom, Mama Adaeze's legacy continues. Because one teacher's courage taught a whole village about truth. One boy's gratitude restored justice. One moment of misunderstanding became a lifetime lesson about love. And that is how the story of Mama Adaeze became a modern folktale, passed down from parent to child, told in markets and meeting halls, remembered whenever someone judges too quickly or condemns too fast. The lesson lives on. Seek the full truth. Listen to all sides. Remember that love takes many forms. And never forget that those who protect our children deserve our deepest respect and trust. This is the story the village tells. This is the wisdom they share. This is the truth that saved Mama Adaeze and taught them all what really matters.